Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Red True Crime. I am Rebecca, your host, and we're going to talk about the fact that I am being accused of slander yet again. So, um, this involves the case of Trey Heaton, case I talked about a month ago. And I will say this: people who accuse should not throw stones if they live in glass houses. Just going to say it with that. So, sit back. We're going to go into this and I will return with the facts as I always do. Hi, everyone. Thank you for sticking around. Okay, so Trey Heaton. Trey Heaton was a 17-year-old boy that was found deceased in a house on Hickory Road in Ashboro on September 6th, 2025. So I've got this little snippet from the video I did a month ago. I'm going to play a little bit of it for you. So maybe it'll refresh your memory if you saw that broadcast I did. So let's start with two people in a house. One is 8 years old, one is 17 years old. And within moments, gunshot is let go, and one person is dead, and it's a 17-year-old boy. Two people, no one else in the house. Who's the killer? Stick around for more. Okay, so there's that little snippet. Now, that's from like a month ago. Nothing else has really been said about the case. I mean, I go into the case, I talk about how Randolph County is not giving the family any real insight as to what happened. I talked about how there was a 17-year-old boy and an 8-year-old boy in that house. And Trey Heaton was shot in the back of his head. The back of his head. I'm gonna say that again. The back of his head. So when you look at it like that, who's to blame? Like, honestly, who's to blame? Because the autopsy, the death certificate, makes it very clear that this was a case of homicide. And let me pull that up real quick. There we go. There you go, right there. Says on there, gives his name, date, when he died, all the information, and it says manner of death, homicide. So I get this, I get this from the family, and I said my video, I did what I did, I said what I said, and lo and behold, I guess somebody saw the little snippet I did and started passing it around, and it got to the Johnson family, who were the people who owned the house where Trey Heaton died. And Cynthia A. Johnson is the mother of the 8-year-old boy that was there with Trey when he died. So people started seeing it. I start getting friend requests and messages, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? But one particular message caught my eye. And let me get that in here real quick. I was like, what? This one right here from Cynthia Johnson. I hope you know what slander and defamation of character is, as you spew your lies about my family and my 8-year-old son. According to you, my dad has deep pockets, and you're going to find out how deep. See you in court. Okay. So I get this. And I'm like, okay, well, Cynthia, we already know what all has transpired because I mentioned it in the previous video. On the night in question, when Trey Heaton died, and her boyfriend showed up, Bobby or Billy Crutchfeld, I think his name is, felon, owns guns. The story was Cynthia left her 8-year-old son in the company of Trey Heaton, and she went to go get ice cream. The shooting that took place happened while she was gone. Now, if an 8-year-old is there and a 17-year-old is there and there's no one else in the house, how did Trey Heaton shoot himself in the back of the head? Because that is the story that the Johnson family was putting out there, that Trey Heaton self-deleted himself. So how's that possible? So I did a little digging. You know me, I always like to do my digs. Dig, dig, dig. And I find that Cynthia was charged that night. Nope, not that one. Let's see. Nope. Nope. So many things with this case. Here we go. So, misdemeanor child abuse and permit children use firearms. Yeah. So, I decided to get into the, the arrest records and figure out what all they said she did. So, here it is right here. Misdemeanor child abuse, permit children to use firearms. Let's see. Is it this one? Here we go. Put my glasses on so I can see what I'm reading. So, on or about the date of the offense shown in the county named above, the defendant unlawfully and willfully did, being the parent of KD, that is the 8-year-old, who was a child less than 16 years of age, create and allow substantial risk of physical injury upon that child by other than accidental means. So, when they went into the house and searched, after the incident, when the police were finally allowed into the house, they found in the 8-year-old's bedroom a Four Loko alcoholic beverage on the nightstand in the bedroom, an unused THC Mahamed vape pen, burnt cigarettes in and around the bed and nightstand. 8 years old. So he had a malt liquor beverage, a weed pen, and burnt cigarettes all around his room, and he's 8. Okay. The other charge, permit children use firearms. On or about the date of the offense shown and in the county named above, the defendant unlawfully, willfully did allow KD, an 8-year-old, to stay in the residence with no supervision with unsecured firearms. There you have it. I would like to know what I said wrong in the previous video that is slanderous or defaming and with lies. Let me know what you all think, because I don't think I said anything incorrect, because record. This is what she was arrested for. Right there. Boom. And then she was like, there was a court order put in place. She was not allowed to have any access to her son. So there was a court order about that. She was not allowed to be around him whatsoever. Well, she violated that within a few days of that being put in place. So now we have this one. Violation of court order. And that is Cynthia right there in the picture. And it says here, let me put my glasses back on because I am blind as a bat. On or about the date of offense shown in the county named above, the defendant unlawfully and willfully did on September 7th, the day after the incident, was issued release conditions by the magistrate to not be in contact with victim Kay Davis. I believe that is her son, or be within 1,000 feet of him. So on September 10th, so this would be 4 days after the shooting, she was found on video and confirmed by school administrators to be in the same vehicle and room located at Uwari Charter Academy as the victim, and this is where her son goes, and violating the conditions set by the magistrate. Okay. So she did all that. Still going to court over this. I think she goes back to court in February. But here's what they did. They gave her a $100,000 bond. Boom, right there. And they put her on an ankle bracelet for house arrest. So again, I'm going to ask the question. How am I defaming? How am I slandering? Because, chick, you should not be throwing stones at glass houses. Because you were not supervising your child, because you allowed him to have an alcoholic beverage and a weed pen. He's 8 years old. I'm sorry. The cops found this stuff. I'm not making this up. This is part of the criminal record. This is part of the police record. This is part of your record. So threaten me with slander again? Threaten me with defamation? Threaten that you're going to sue my ass? Take care of your business first. Worry about me later. Because it sounds like to me, you need some parenting classes. And it sounds like to me, because there was a motion that was put in December that she was begging to have contact with her son, which is all sad and whatnot. But here's the problem. Would you allow this woman to be around? Would you allow this to happen, knowing that she's allowing him to drink, smoke weed and cigarettes, and he's 8 years old? Now, this kind of blew up a little bit, this whole thing, and the sheriff of Randolph County had to issue a statement, a press release, basically saying that this case is a priority, and because it's juveniles involved, they can't say much. I get that. You can't release things to the public, but you're not telling the family anything. So it's been 4 months. There has been no headway on this case. And my thing is, what the hell are you investigating? Because there were 2 people in the room, an 8-year-old and a 17-year-old, and the 17-year-old is dead with a bullet wound to the back of his damn head. Who did that? My guess, the 8-year-old. Now, whether he did it intentionally or was high and the thing went off accidentally, or the kid did it intentionally. I hate to think that of an 8-year-old, but 8-year-old, 17-year-old shot in the back of the head. 17-year-old could not have done that. So that leaves the 8-year-old to do it. Unless there is a third party. Unless there's a third party, that's people are trying to protect. And why, I have no idea. But we now know, based on the death certificate, that he died in manner of homicide, and it was a bullet wound to the back of his head. So, who did it? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Mo is being the 8-year-old. I don't know. But don't come at me because you're ticked off because your business is public. It is. Because any Tom, Dick, and Harry can look into the court system and pull up these records. Okay? You screwed up. You left your kid alone. He killed somebody, possibly, allegedly. Let me just say that, because no one's been charged. And that's why I don't understand. Why has no one been charged? Or at least, why has this not been ruled an accidental homicide? Something, you know? Because if the 8-year-old did, in fact, shoot Trey Heaton, this should have been dealt with months ago. That's all I'm saying. But there's more to this story, and they are keeping this under wraps. And like I said, nobody wants to put an 8-year-old in jail, but either the 8-year-old did it or there's somebody else that was in that house when all this went down. Which is it? That's what I want to know, because we know Trey didn't do it. We know he didn't do it. So, Cynthia, if you got any more smart remarks for me, let me know. But what I'm saying is not defamation. What I'm saying is not slander. And they're not lies. Because, like I said, allegedly, your son shot Trey. If there was no one else in that house, and we know for a fact Trey did not shoot himself, that leaves your son. That's just a process of elimination. So, but you going around telling people that Trey unalived himself, now that's defamation and that is slander. Because that is not true, because there are state documents proving otherwise. So, like I said, go ahead and try and sue me. Good luck. because your business is all out there for the public consumption. So go right ahead. I'm sure with that ankle bracelet, you'll probably be sitting here mean mugging me anyway online. So have a great night. And everybody out there, the election's coming up in March for Randolph County for your sheriff. Really, really think about who you're voting for here because I don't live in Randolph County, but I've heard multiple stories about favoritism and just things not going very well. Especially with Seabolt and his buddies. So just think about it. I'm not saying you need to vote in the other guys that are talking smack about Seabolt because I don't know anything about them. But this is a very open and shut case, in my opinion, what happened to Trey Heaton. And the fact that it's 4 months later and nothing has been resolved and there is no closure for the family, I think is a bit ridiculous because it was one of two things. Either it was intentional or it was an accident. And medical examiner saying homicide. I don't know. That sounds like to me it's intentional, but I would hate to think that of a child. But I don't know. Like I said, we don't know. Like I said, it's one of two things. Either the 8-year-old did it or there was another person there and they are keeping that quiet. So really think about that. Why? Oh, why? Because I'm sorry, um this is not the first time someone has made a comment to me about slander. And nobody ever wants to um face the truth of a situation, you know? "Oh, my son didn't do anything. He was an angel," and has a attempted murder charge when he was 19. Okay. This is the crap I hear. Because my thing is, not everybody's perfect, and not everybody needs to be, like, demonized or whatever, but don't sit there and accuse me of defaming you when you have all this going on that is current. I'm not talking some old shit, 'cause that seems to be something people come at, "Why'd you bring up the old stuff?" Well, because it's relevant if I brought it up. This is current, this is what's going on right now. Now, she's due back in court, I think February 10th. It's February, but I believe it's the 10th. Don't quote me on the exact day. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. But I would dare say, Sheriff Seabolt, if you're watching this, you need to do something because what's the holdup here? Like seriously, what is the damn holdup? Because something needs to be decided. It was either homicide or it was an accident. What is it? Kids get a hold of guns, they go off accidentally. It happens, but you've got your medical examiner calling this a homicide, so something happened. And the Johnsons, again, I keep hearing the Johnsons have deep pockets, money, all that good stuff. So I don't want to think that you're taking a bribe to keep this under wraps because this is ridiculous. Open and shut. Who shot? Who shot Trey? Because it wasn't Trey. And Cynthia, find a hobby, my dear. You're still under house arrest, so have a great day. So this is Rebecca with Red True Crime. I'm gonna end this on that note. But like I said, when I come on here, I'm gonna repeat this. When I come on here and I talk about these crime stories, especially the local ones, everything I pull, if I say it's a fact, it's because there is a public record showing this. If it's my opinion, I will state, in my opinion, or allegedly, one of the two, I will say these things. So remember that if you want to come at me for slander and defamation, because it's kind of hard to prove those things. So have a great night, everybody. This is Rebecca with Red True Crime. I'm out. Bye bye.